Our next presenter, Sabine Jessen, is the National Manager of Oceans Program and has worked for CPAWS since 1991. Please welcome Madame Sabine Jessen. Thanks, everyone. I think I have the hardest place in the whole program across the country, and that's following the dancers. Anyway, it's so wonderful to be here with all of you tonight. I'm very honored to meet so many members of the Cree Nation, some of whom I had the real pleasure of meeting earlier this year in June in Rimouski. And wonderful to meet so many other members of your community, and I'm really looking forward to hearing how your work with Dawich is going tonight. I'd like to thank the CPAWS SNAP chapter for hosting us here tonight at Concordia University. It really is an exciting evening. I think, as has been mentioned, we're on the 5th stop of our 7-city national tour, and what we're really hoping to do, thank you, is to raise public passion for the oceans. And more importantly, tonight, it was so exciting to bring the Cree and the Haida people together to share some of their experiences, and I really hope that this is going to lead to some partnerships and other important work in the future. We had the pleasure of launching our tour last week. We've been on the road now for a week and a half, and we were at Government House, and we were hosted by His Honor, the Lieutenant Governor of British Columbia, Stephen Point. And it was an amazing, moving evening. And our goal is really to inspire Canadians like you to take action, to better manage our use of the oceans, and to protect ocean ecosystems. And we're thrilled to feature the long odyssey to protect Guayhanas, an odyssey that was driven by the Haida, but completed in partnership. And that partnership was with Parks Canada and Fisheries and Oceans Canada, and the result is truly awesome. That doesn't look very focused to me. I'm not sure if our tech person can fix that, but which is a Haida heritage site combined with a national park reserve and a national marine conservation area that protects the interconnected land-sea ecosystems from the mountaintop to the seafloor. CPAWS was involved in some of the early struggles to protect Guayhanas that began 25 years ago. And I have a real passion for ocean and coastal issues, and I like to joke that maybe it's my Viking background that comes out, and I had to share just a little piece of that with you. This is a Viking ship that was unearthed in a bog near my own parents' home in very northern Germany near Denmark. And it dates back to the 4th century, and this part of Germany is bounded by the Baltic and North Seas, and I have so many personal memories of visiting not only in this ship and learning about the Vikings, but visiting those two parts of the global ocean. And I was struck when I was looking at this photo that there are some similarities with the Haida canoes, and this is of course the most famous of them, the Lutas. But what I'd like to share with you tonight is some of the wonder of the oceans on Earth, the creatures that inhabit this vast watery world, and why we need to better protect it. Did you know that 72% of the planet is ocean? Many people think it should have been called Planet Ocean, not Planet Earth. And 80% of all life on the globe is found beneath the waves. Now, this vast global ocean pulses around our world. It drives the natural forces that maintain all life on the planet. You may have heard about this global ocean conveyor belt, the flow of warm and cold ocean water that works its way around the globe. And even here in Canadian waters, the Pacific flows into the Arctic and then flows out into the Atlantic. And Atlantic water moves its way around the Arctic and back out into the Atlantic. The ocean regulates climate on Earth and provides half of all the oxygen that we breathe. We are connected to the ocean with each drop of water, with every breath we take. But most of what we experience is this: out of sight, out of mind. It looks beautiful, we see the surface of the water, but we can't see what is happening underneath there and what some of the marvelous treasures are that are there. Did you know that the largest mountain ranges on Earth are found beneath the ocean, and the deepest canyons as well? And there's so much we don't know about the ocean. Some scientists say we know more about the moon than we do about the sea. For example, in Canada's Pacific waters, scientists discovered unique ecosystems at these deep sea hydrothermal vents. Unusual creatures live there in total darkness, adjacent to superheated water over 100 degrees. And also found on the BC coast are Jurassic glass sponge reefs. They were thought to have gone extinct with the dinosaurs. They've been growing on the seafloor for 9,000 years. And they can reach the height of an 8-story building. The census of marine life has been taking place over the last decade and is showing us some of the thousands of species, not only that we've never seen before, we probably never even dreamed we'd find species like this. This hairy crab, this fish with teeth on its tongue. So many species have yet to be discovered. They estimate 250,000 marine species have been identified, and that there are another 750,000 species yet to be discovered. The ocean teems with life, from microscopic plankton at the base of the food chain to things like these sea urchins, beautiful anemones that look like flowers, jellyfish, kelp, got them out of order, sorry, corals, and unusual fish like this decorated warbonnet, and wolf eels. And here's a wolf eel eating one of its favorite food, a sea urchin. Somebody like that? And of course, there's the seabirds, these beautiful tufted puffins. And the marine life uses vast areas of the ocean. This is just one example. It's one small drab brown bird, but look at the area of the ocean, all of the Pacific, that these birds need for their lives. And this is the path of just one albatross. So huge extents of the ocean. And of course, other magnificent animals like dolphins, whales. And again, the vast use of the ocean by these animals. Here's the migration of the humpback whales. We receive many benefits from the ocean, and many uses depend on the ocean, whether it's recreation, energy, shipping, wildlife, fishing. But I have to share with you some of the bad news, and some of it you know. I think the world was transfixed by the disaster in the Gulf of Mexico this summer, which will, of course, had not only those immediate impacts on the local environment, but will have long impacts on many species, their habitats, and the people that live on the coasts. We are having many other impacts on ocean ecosystems, and one of the biggest is a removal through fishing. The top ocean predators, the lions and tigers of the sea, like sharks, cod, tuna, are disappearing. Studies have shown that about 90% of all the large fish in the ocean are gone. And we are in danger of disrupting the whole chain of ocean life. In fact, industrial fishing can take only 15 years to reduce a fish stock to an unsustainable level, and it's happened over and over again around the world. Of course, everyone knows what happened to Atlantic cod, And this gives you a little bit of a graphic example of that. This is what the red is the most dense concentration of cod in 1900. This is what the ocean looked like in 1999. A destructive form of fishing that is of concern is bottom trawling, because it destroys bottom habitat like cold water corals, like sponge reefs that provide home to so many other species. This is what those glass sponge reefs I showed you earlier looked like after 50% of them were destroyed by trawling. And here's a coral tree being brought on board a trawler. It's probably hundreds of years old. And did you know that there are fish that live in the ocean that can live for 100 or 200 years? Scientists have warned that we are fishing down marine food webs, from those lions and tigers of the ocean at the top, down to the smaller fish, even down to krill in some places. Some scientists have joked that we're going to be eating jellyfish sandwiches if we keep doing this. And with space-age technology, we could catch the last fish. And then the final, maybe bit of bad news that I do have to talk about is climate change and what that's doing to the ocean. Not only melting Arctic sea ice, but turning our seas into Coca-Cola, acidifying them, which is dissolving the shells of many ocean species, including those at the base of the food chain. But I don't want to dwell on the bad news, but the reason for me sharing some of that is to put the success of Guayhanas and the need for marine protected areas in that bigger context, and the need to protect these intact places with healthy ocean ecosystems so that they can benefit us for generations to come. And we know from studies that have been conducted around the world where other marine protected areas have been put in place that they are very effective at protecting biodiversity. What has been achieved with Guayhanas is an example of what we need to do far more of in Canada. Right now, about 10% of the land base is protected, but only 1% of the ocean. CPAWS is active trying to promote ocean conservation across the country, from policy work to championing the need for marine protected areas and MPA networks. And we're working on, I've just thrown in a few examples of some of the local areas that we are trying to see protected, whether it's the southwest coast of Newfoundland, Les Îles de Madeleine, the southern Strait of Georgia on the British Columbia coast, and also on the British Columbia coast, an area of global significance for seabirds at the Scott Islands. We hope that Canadians like you, who are across the country and who care about what happens to ocean ecosystems, will be inspired by the Guayhana story and get involved and help us to protect some of the other amazing places like these. Those black open circles, the red ones are done, but we need far more of them, and those black circles are some of the ones that we'd like to see protected, and we have put Dawit on that map, and we hope that will help. Another way you can help is we're part of a program called Sea Choice, and that's to think about what you buy in a restaurant or a grocery store and help to choose more sustainable seafood. Experiencing the ocean firsthand, and I don't probably have to say that to most of you, is an awesome experience. And certainly in Guayhanas, for me, it's been magical. I had the opportunity to float through one of the areas called Burnaby Narrows, and to just let the tide take me through the passage, and to see the rockfish, and to see the kelp swaying in the waves, sea cucumbers, sea urchins, and so many starfish. It really was an amazing world overflowing with life. And this tour for CPAWS is in part a thank you to the Haida for never losing sight of their goal to protect that interconnected web of life that has sustained them over the millennia. Those of us here now and the generations still to come will all benefit from this gift that they really give to all of us. And I do want to thank my Haida friends on the tour, Chief Robert Mills, and the spirit of our ancestors dance group, I'm so honored that you have joined us on this tour, that you've taken the time from your busy lives to be with us and to share your ceremony of song and dance, your stories that have been passed down from generation to generation. And so I lift my hands to you and say, Hawa. Here at Skangwai, you can feel the spirits of the Haida ancestors. And perhaps like us, they are happier now that the ocean is better protected. Thank you.